Okay. So we're going to be talking marketing today. Click. Just like every week, we talk about what we're going to focus on in terms of growing and running the business. This is going to be lead generating for buyers and sellers, and marketing seller listings and what that looks like. And I scheduled for you guys to be here until 1:30, but we were supposed to start at 12:30. I will do my best to be around 1:30, so I don't spend time that you guys didn't plan on spending.
I don't have anything to do till 4:30.
All right, so we talked a little bit about it the last time. Prospecting and marketing and kind of what that difference is, right? Marketing is your money intensive side of the business. It's it usually costs something to get a return. Typically, you're going to have long-term results if you consistently market. And it is passive. It doesn't take a lot of time to reach the same amount of people as it would in prospecting. In your examples of marketing that you've seen or are familiar with, kind of any industry, what does that look like? Prospecting, again, is active, time intensive, proactive, takes your time, produces immediate results. What does marketing look like compared to a prospecting side of things? At any industry at all. It would be like commercials that you see, Super Bowl commercials that you see. Those are money intensive, passive, producing long-term results. Because we all saw, commercials during the Super Bowl. If you were watching the Super Bowl, you've probably even seen them after the fact. If you watch TV in general at all. Money intensive, passive, and long-term, but that's what we're going to be talking about. Characteristics you should be able to identify once we're done. Pros and cons, characteristics, and use cases by examining marketing methods. So let's dive in. Prospecting's on your left, phone, face-to-face, listings without agencies, for sale by owners, expired, circle prospecting, all the avenues there, community outreach. We talked a lot about this the last time. In the middle is going to be farming, because let's say we choose to do farming, right? It's like your letters, but it's also like door knocking. So that's prospecting side, letters are the marketing side. Makes sense? That's the passive side that costs something, sending the postcards out or whatever it might be. We've got offline advertising, old school advertising, I like how they call it offline. Radio, TV, newspapers, personal vehicles. So I knew an agent that had her car wrapped. So that she had call me for the royal treatment on her car and a picture of herself and her phone number.
I used to have two huge magnets
Yeah.
by my door.
Yeah.
And I got phone calls.
Mhm.
But most of them were like, are you married? Stuff like that,
Yeah, so things do change, and depending on the area you're in or whatever, you might not get the right result, right? But the car wrap worked for the agent. That was my mother-in-law when she was selling real estate. So she actually has the wrap that she used. She brought an example out. She packed up all her house and she kept this car wrap as an example, because they had put it on an old car that they didn't have anymore. But she pulled it out and showed me, which was very fun. They've talked about it for years because my wife had to drive that car after she got another car. So she was driving her mom's old car that had the wrap on it with her phone number on it. She was driving it back to school. But anyway, those are the kind of things that you're using for marketing, right? online advertising, pay-per-click, SEO, social media, portals, squeeze pages, anything like that. Broadcasting content out to radios, TV, live social media, blogs, direct mail, sending postcards, cards, letters, promotional items, public relation, news releases, advice columns, sponsorships, basically your list for marketing. So that's the difference. How do you know where the customer is and how do you meet them there? What do you think? How do you know where the customer is and how do you meet them there? We're thinking about marketing, right? So how do you determine where your customer is? So when you think about sending these letters out, or you think about, what do you do for marketing? Do you do any marketing?
No.
Okay.
I used to do radio.
Okay, you used to do radio.
Yes,
You
I
were?
did it for 1 year, but it was good because I got like a lot of phone calls every day. But the problem was like 60% of the phone calls were people with tax ID. And the requirements were really, like a lot of money, stuff like that. They didn't have that.
Hmm.
So I choose an area that I reach out a lot of like a that Hispanic community
Mhm.
was good, but they didn't have the money.
Okay.
But I did for, I love it. And the guy from the radio, it was like an interview, like Patricia, what do you think about the market, the interest rate, blah, blah, blah. And we start talking on the radio.
Yeah.
And it was very fun. I love it. I
Hmm.
did it for 1 year.
So he would call you and interview you and then that would go
Exactly.
out?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Or he invite me over the place
Hmm.
and he had the Facebook Live and a lot of people were looking also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
What would you say was the return on your investment there?
So from that experience, that was 1 year, I got only like 3 closings.
Okay. So only 3 closings from it.
Yeah.
Did you make enough to pay for it or?
So my broker, he paid the half of that. I think was 1,000 for the month. And I don't remember, I think was 3 times, like let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Hmm.
like maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting. Gotcha. So, but with that half paid, then you were able to make enough from your 3 closings to cover that?
Yes,
Okay,
more than
Yeah,
enough.
good.
Yes.
So that's how we find where the customer is. We simply, there's a lot of different things you can do depending on what the type of advertising you're doing. Radio, you're just getting out there en masse, right? If you're talking about farming or postcards or anything along those lines, we're playing the numbers game, but we also want to make sure that there's going to be a return on our investment, right? So,
One thing that I like it a lot is go to the fairs. Like have a kiosk
okay.
and like when people goes and you give something to them
Mhm.
and you start talking about it. I think that people likes to do. Like I did it 1 or 2 times and I got clients from there.
Oh, good. Okay. So a kiosk or a table at a fair event.
Mhm.
You're going to be pretty prospecting based after that event to follow up and keep those people in your database and everything like that to really capitalize on that. Because if you're collecting the information, it's kind of like your squeeze page, right? You want them to come to your table and you collect their information somehow. Maybe you do a raffle or whatever that might be, and you do a giveaway. then you get their information, but then you have to follow up. Like you have to make sure that you're capitalizing on that, putting them on your drips, getting permission to keep in touch with them, provide them value, so that then they think of you as their agent.
My weakness, the worst I have is the follow-up.
Yeah.
I'm really bad on that. I'm trying to work on that. One time when I just got my license,
Mhm.
a friend of mine invited me over a church. They have an event. So she said, like, bring your cards and then you can give it to all the people.
Mhm.
So I did it and I was like, oh, are you interested in buying or selling? You want some information? Can you give me your name, your phone number and your email? And I got like 20 names.
Hmm.
So that following week, I called some of them. Then say like, oh, I'm not interested right now, this reason that. Then I totally forgot about it, totally. So after 2 years,
Mhm.
I found my list and I say like, oh, I'm gonna call them. So I called them, Patrick, 10 people bought it in between that years.
Mhm.
Then people say like, oh, I forgot about you. Where were you?
Yep.
I bought it last year.
These things happen, and everybody's gonna have stumbles and, exactly like this. The one thing that we do know is that they will not likely stay in that home forever. And they also know other people that will buy and sell. So with their permission, you simply put them in your database. The power of command, you keep in touch with them mostly passively. So you don't have to, you can use command as a marketing tool. They're getting a newsletter once a month or once a quarter, or your magazine, or whatever it might be that you can send through command, so that they see your face, they see you, you keep up with them. Because what will happen is now they'll remember you, because they remember that they forgot you. They probably don't feel good about it. Maybe they don't care, but they're going to remember that conversation most likely, especially if you solidify it by keeping in contact with them. Hey, no worries. I'm happy for you. How's the house treating you? You have that conversation. Then you ask, do you mind if I send you some information about what's happening in the market now, so you can keep current on what your home is worth? Great. And you send them the CMA, once a quarter or twice a year or something like that. You keep in contact with them that way. You can put them on neighborhoods so that they get it, and subscribe to those emails so they get it and you don't have to do it. Right? Obviously, that's a more generic idea. It'll show what's happening in the neighborhood, but it won't be a specific value. But it'll give them an idea. And then you can send a CMA once a year or something like that. Completely up to you how you're marketing to your database. How do you communicate your value proposition? What are we doing to tell people how different we are? How we can help them better? How do we communicate it? As an agent, what is your value proposition? Right?
I think because in my case, most of my clients are referrals
Mhm.
or past clients.
Mhm.
So most of the time I don't have to say anything. And remember that you were talking about weakness and strength?
Mhm.
My strength is that I don't know why, but people trust me a lot.
No, that's big.
And I'm not the kind of person that try to convince you to do things. No, I hate that. But I just talk
Mhm.
and they say, okay, and they do it. So I think,
So that's a big part of value proposition right there. Communication and trust.
exactly.
So that's a big one. Then yeah, I imagine you have a similar value proposition.
Yes. People trust me.
Mhm. So we want to make sure that we're able to communicate that. We've also got all kinds of good KW resources that can be part of our value proposition. So that we're able to talk to our clients about those. Things like Keller Mortgage is an option. Okay, there's a situation selling their house even. I know a lot of people don't think about this one. You've got Keller Mortgage as an option. If you're the listing agent and you've got a buyer that needs closing costs or something like that, well, that's an option. You can shoot Keller Mortgage over to the buyer's agent and say, hey, here's some extra money. If you're down in negotiations, here's some extra money. Like, I don't know what lender they're using, but Keller Mortgage will save you $1,000, $2,000 on fees because there's no cost.
Really?
On Keller Mortgage. Now, one of the things that we recommend in KW is to use your preferred lender and have them as an option when you're talking to buyers too. Because you want to make sure you're giving your buyers options. You don't want to put them in one category, but you definitely want to make sure you give them the option. And that could be a leverage piece, a leverage tool. If maybe the buyers need a little extra money to close a home, that's an option for you. And that's only a Keller Williams agent. Nobody else can use that. But if it's your listing, you can send it to the other side as well. So that's an option. But that's just one leverage piece, right? That's one piece of your value proposition. Another could be the discussions that we have in our office about coming soon listings. Hopefully we'll put something together like for Facebook so that everybody knows a little bit more about what's happening. But that could be a value proposition, the network you have with agents. Every week, we're talking about coming soon listings, buyer needs. That's a value proposition you can send out, right? So what is it that you're using that you're able to share with people that they might not get everywhere? So that's what we're talking about in our marketing. And those are pieces you can use, right? Sometimes it's events with the team. Sometimes it's, saving money with Keller Mortgage. Sometimes it's, having a relationship with the rate settlement company. Value proposition. How do you communicate it? How do you put it out to your buyers and sellers? Excuse me. How can you come from contribution or connect in a meaningful way? I think we have that pretty down in this group right here. Coming from contribution, right? So we've got Vinny who helps feed anybody that needs fed, right? And Patricia, coming from contribution, you're always looking to help people. And just like you said, you're looking to guide people, whether it's working with you or not. So make sure that when you talk about and market yourself, that's what we're doing. Connect in a meaningful way, and it's not focused on just business, right? How important do you think branding and aesthetic consistency is in your marketing? How do you achieve it?
Like what aesthetic means?
The look, branding. So branding means, for instance,
Something that they look and it,
yeah. So do you have like a brand like the KW for Keller Williams?
I have a sign
Mhm.
that I always use with my clients. They always are holding the signs, and always people tell me like, oh, I love your signs.
So that's part of your branding, right?
Okay.
So what it's asking is how important is something like that? And the consistency of using something like that. Is that important? Well, you just said it was, right? Because your people recognize it. Your sphere of influence recognizes that. So it's important to stay consistent and make sure you have the same information consistently throughout. How do and should you follow up with leads generated from marketing? How's that important? What do you think?
It's very important.
Well,
But
Good
it's
story
hard.
from Patricia just a few minutes ago, right? The event where you got all the names and you didn't follow up with all of them. It's very important.
But I got just one girl from Dallas
Mhm.
that was interested in buying.
Yeah,
So I helped her. At that time, she didn't qualify to buy anything. She was like probably, she was pre-qualified for 250. Okay, and I told her like, I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
So she got a small townhouse, Providence Village in Sterling
Mhm.
for 225. She bought it. Okay, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. She was so happy and grateful with me. Next year, she called me, Patricia, I'm having another job. Can you help me to buy? And I buying with brother or somebody else. She bought a townhouse in Sterling for 400,000. The year after that, she bought another house, a bigger house. So now she has 3 houses, and she bought it with me from Dallas.
Awesome. So that's a story, right? That's part of what you can include in marketing. Because what you want to do is you want to share these types of things with people. When you tell a story like that, right? You put the person in the thought process, because there's going to be buyers out there that you're going to talk to that can't qualify for what they want to qualify for. But if they buy now, position themselves to continue saving, continue moving forward, they're going to be gaining equity on their home. And then they'll be in a better position to buy later what they actually want, right? That's my story, right? When my wife and I were first getting together, I could barely afford the place we bought, but we bought it. And the reason I was able to continue to afford is, one, I moved on in my career, but two, the equity in the properties was important. And your perspective changes as a homeowner as opposed to a renter. And the stats out there, net worth grows as you own home. And that's why. So marketing, take action, create and post marketing materials in Command. We're not going through the Command Tech demo. Designs in Command, it's easy to go through. There's a lot of good templates to be able to use and put information together in your marketing. You can use it in Command, or you can use it and send postcards or letters or anything like that. You can design it to what you want.
In Command, right?
In Command, yep.
I didn't know.
Designs. So you go the side, there's a spot where you can pick up designs, and then you can kind of put together anything you want. Template type options. You've got the dashboard using a template. Rename it to whatever you want and save it.
Patrick, Mike, does he teach a class
Yeah.
about that?
He does? Yep. So every Wednesday
Okay,
at 10 o'clock.
And you can go on Command
okay.
and pick any one of those little things, and they'll have a little video to tell you how to do it.
Oh,
Mm,
okay.
I spent
I didn't
2
know
hours
that.
yesterday.
Look at you.
Looking at the different social media ones,
okay.
but yeah, 2 long hours checking them all out.
You could spend a lot of time in
Yes.
Command, kind of going down a rabbit hole. But if there's something specific you want to do, it gives you a lot of information. It's easy to access.
And if you have 2 computers, you can have both of them on Command. You can work on one, and you can do the videos on the other one to tell you how to do what you're gonna do on this one.
Okay. Got it.
That's what I do.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
But Mike will set you straight.
Here's one. Designed by Josie Ambrosi. What do you think the whole purpose of this one is?
Just when it comes to their open house.
Yeah, it's an open house marketing piece. Pretty simple, right? But you can use the designs in Command to set this up.
Then you can put your own pictures in.
Yeah. So I imagine that's the open house that they've got, and they've got the design up here so that they can have their logo and the information easily accessible and highlighted in the design. So this could be a post they're using, or maybe a flyer or a postcard. You know, so they take the time to design it in Command so it's eye-catching, but still gets the information out there. What do you think this one might be? This is probably what? Well, we see up in the upper left-hand corner, Gem Heights. So I imagine that's a neighborhood, right? So then we have the average list price for the neighborhood, the average sold price, total active, total pending, not available days on the market, average price per square foot. Things are heating up in Gem Heights.
Somebody's trying to get a listing.
There you go. So it's probably farming of some sort, right? Could be in an email, maybe, specific neighborhood. Just listed pending, right? Maybe this is a postcard. Signature Partners LLC. 115, vacant lot for 15. There you go. Looks like a postcard advertisement to me. Just some examples of what you can put together in designs to market to your people. Provided through Command to make it easy. So you don't necessarily have to pay somebody to do marketing pieces like this. You can easily create them 5-10 minutes once you get the knack down on what you're doing and what you want to do. We're not going to do this. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to go ahead and practice and do it. Mike does have topics, but designs will probably be one of them. I think he did one a little while ago.
But you can schedule some alone time with them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so if you need more information or anything like that, he's always willing to help. So you can use campaigns and designs to make a social media post, make paid ads through Command as well. Again, we're not going to do that now, but want to get the information out there so you have it. Okay, as promised, we're there. Questions?
Yes, Patrick, what are we gonna do with this high interest rate? I'm getting
Well, I was
this,
thinking I would get them under control.
you
No.
know why? Because I really very worried about that. And I was so enthusiastic, so after your class that you did it,
Mhm.
I was calling my clients, I was doing a lot of things. I got 2 buyers.
Yeah.
Pre-qualified.
Yeah.
With the money, with everything.
Mhm.
But then when I saw the low inventory, the interest rate, I got how we're gonna help these people.
Yeah,
I got so,
I definitely understand where you're coming from. So let me ask you this. You think there's a way you can help them?
yes,
What does that look like?
look like the other one before. I always got a house for my clients.
Okay.
And I just pray.
Okay.
I just pray and I do my best that I can. And I always win a house, always. And my clients are not people that are gonna offer 30,000 above or 20,000. No, the highest that we offer is 5,000.
So with that being said, you know what to do. You've done it before. Do it again, right? there's all kinds of ways to go around what's happening in the market to still serve your clients best. One of the best ways that I know of that I've seen success with is going to be talking to neighborhoods where there's people that they might be interested in. So if they have specific areas or neighborhoods that they want to move to, a type of house, you find that neighborhood, you market to that neighborhood about your buyers, you postcard, you door knock, you phone call, whatever you do that you're best at, you're comfortable with. That's how you're going to help them find listings, find somewhere to go in a market like this. Now, you can also still do the regular stuff you always do. Look on MLS and search, use the network in the office and find listings and everything that way.
Patrick, what do you think about door knocking?
That's how I found my home. Yeah, door knocking and mailing.
But I did one time,
Mhm.
somebody was screaming to me,
Sure.
yelling, and he said like, I'm soliciting.
Yeah.
But I-
So, not every, you found one person on a bad day for themselves. Has nothing to do with you. My whole career is activity on the phone. Run into people like that all the time, right? Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You know, if you're not interested in buying or selling your home, no problem. You have a good day. And that's it. You walk away, you leave. You're under no obligation to stay there with them or anything like that. That type of situation is going to cause fear. Fear of you not doing it again. If you want to serve your clients and can't find them a home, do you think you owe it to them to door knock? Because you're going to hit two things from that. One, you could potentially find the right home for your clients. The two, you could also have a home that you work the transaction with.
Patrick, I'm trying to overcome all my fears. Believe me, I'm doing things that I never said. For example, today, when the people were talking about their listings,
Yeah.
they were talking like a 1,800,000, 750,
Mhm.
and my listing were like a 300,000, 228, and it was like I don't want to talk about my listings.
Nothing wrong with that.
And then I say like, no, this is a fear, and I'm going to overcome my fear, and
Good.
I'm gonna talk.
Good.
A couple years ago, I had like 4 that were between 150 and 250. So what? You want your money, you make people happy.
Yeah,
Yes.
they still have to buy and sell homes. My first property was 275.
But you know, it's kind of difficult to be, you know what I mean? Everybody
Don't be
has.
intimidated.
Yeah, don't be intimidated.
Don't.
Let me tell you what, it doesn't matter who it is in this room, they're gonna take a listing for a buyer that does the same. Right? So you help the people that come to you and are with you and serve them the best you can. That's what matters. And serving them is speaking up during the meeting so that other people can hear what you have coming soon. Yep. Good.
But how many people in the room didn't say anything?
Ooh, I love it.
You had said something. Everybody else was quiet, most of them. They had nothing.
That's a great point, Benny.
Yeah.
That's a
Only
great point.
point.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys got something from today.
And you know what? I'm so sad for my friend Julieta that she will